42 crew members killed or injured since 1980. One sailor sucked into a jet engine and lived to tell the story. Another crushed by a 30-ton aircraft. This isn't a war zone. This is the flight deck of an American aircraft carrier during routine operations. Every single day, brave men and women step onto what the Navy calls the most dangerous 4.5 acres on Earth, where jet exhaust reaches 2,000 degrees, where one wrong step means death, where heroes work inches away from spinning propellers that can cut a person in half. The most dangerous job on a U.S. aircraft carrier isn't what you think. The United States Navy operates 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. These floating cities house over 5,000 crew members each. But among all the jobs on these massive warships, one stands above the rest in terms of pure danger. It's not the nuclear reactor operators working with radioactive materials. It's not the pilots flying million-dollar jets. The most dangerous job belongs to the flight deck crew. These are the unsung heroes who make naval aviation possible. Every takeoff, every landing, every mission depends on their skill and courage. They work in an environment so hazardous that safety experts compare it to standing in the middle of an active construction site during an earthquake while hurricanes blow around you. If you have deep respect for our military heroes, type "proud" in the comments. The statistics tell a sobering story. From 1977 to 1991, the Navy Safety Center recorded 918 flight deck injuries. That's more than 60 injuries every single year. 43 of these brave souls lost their lives. But here's what makes this story remarkable. It's also about incredible improvements, amazing teamwork, and the relentless pursuit of safety that defines our Navy. The reality of flight deck operations. Picture the deck of the USS Nimitz, nearly 100,000 tons of American steel cutting through ocean waves. The flight deck stretches 1,092 feet long and 252 feet wide. That's roughly 4.5 acres of organized chaos where miracles happen every day. But this isn't your average workplace. This is where 80,000-pound F-18 Super Hornets land at 150 miles per hour, caught by steel cables under tremendous tension. Where steam catapults accelerate 30-ton aircraft from 0 to 165 miles per hour in just 2 seconds. Where helicopters weighing 15,000 pounds take off and land in conditions that would ground civilian aircraft. The dangers lurk everywhere. Jet exhaust creates temperatures hot enough to melt copper. Propeller wash generates winds exceeding 100 miles per hour. One Navy safety officer described it perfectly. There are noise hazards, heat hazards, respiratory hazards, and physical hazards from massive machinery that operates around the clock. Andrew Dean, a safety officer aboard the USS Nimitz, explained the reality. Jet exhaust, propeller airflow, or air coming off helicopter rotor blades can certainly be enough to blow someone overboard. Remember, this is happening on a ship moving through ocean swells where the deck itself moves unpredictably beneath your feet. But our sailors don't just survive in this environment, they thrive. They've turned this dangerous space into a precision operation that launches and recovers aircraft with remarkable efficiency. Every 45 seconds during flight operations, another aircraft either takes off or lands. It's a testament to American training, discipline, and courage. The heroes in colored jerseys. Walk onto any carrier flight deck and you'll see a rainbow of colored jerseys. This isn't fashion. It's a life-saving system that lets everyone instantly know who does what in this dangerous environment. The blue shirts handle the heavy equipment. They operate forklifts, tractors, and other machinery that moves aircraft around the deck. These sailors work with vehicles weighing thousands of pounds in spaces measured in inches. One wrong move, one moment of lost focus, and tragedy strikes. In 2012, an aircraft being repositioned rolled over a sailor's leg, crushing it. The precision required for their job is absolute. Purple jerseys, the sailors call them grapes, fuel the aircraft. They handle thousands of gallons of jet fuel every day, connecting hoses that pump fuel at incredible pressure. Jet fuel is explosive, toxic, and unforgiving. These sailors work inches away from hot engines and electrical systems that could ignite vapors in an instant. Green shirts maintain the aircraft. They're the mechanics who ensure every bolt, every wire, every system works perfectly. They crawl into engine compartments, work under aircraft, and handle tools near spinning parts. Their expertise keeps our pilots safe and our mission successful. Yellow jerseys direct aircraft movement. They're the traffic controllers of the flight deck, using hand signals to guide 40-ton fighters into precise positions. They stand directly in front of moving aircraft, trusting their training and the pilot's skill. One miscommunication, one moment of confusion could be fatal. Red shirts load the weapons. They handle bombs, missiles, and ammunition in an environment filled with heat, sparks, and electrical systems. They work with explosives powerful enough to sink ships, doing it safely day after day. Brown jerseys handle pre-flight and post-flight operations. They're the final check before a pilot trusts their life to an aircraft, and the first to ensure everything is secure when they return. White jerseys focus on safety and medical needs. They're the guardians watching over everyone else, ready to respond to emergencies in seconds. Each colored jersey represents years of training, incredible skill, and unwavering dedication to their shipmates. These aren't just jobs, they're callings that require extraordinary people willing to put their lives on the line for their country. Before we continue with these incredible stories of courage, I want to ask for your support. If this content matters to you, please hit that like button and subscribe. Most viewers watch without subscribing, but your subscription helps us share more stories about our military heroes. Did you hit subscribe? Surviving the impossible. Some stories of flight deck survival defy belief. In 1991, during Operation Desert Storm, Petty Officer J.D. Bridges experienced what should have been certain death. He was working near an A-6 intruder when the powerful suction of the jet engine grabbed him. Most people don't survive being sucked into a jet engine. The rotating blades spin at thousands of revolutions per minute with enough force to destroy anything in their path. But Bridges got lucky in the most unlikely way. His helmet and jacket went in first, alerting the pilot, who immediately cut the throttle. The specific design of the A-6's engine also contributed to his survival. Any other aircraft type would have killed him instantly. This incident highlights both the extreme dangers and the split-second reactions that save lives on carrier decks. The pilot's quick thinking, the aircraft's design, and pure chance combine to save a life. But it also shows how close disaster always lurks. Not every story has a happy ending. In 1981, an EA-6B Prowler crashed on the USS Nimitz, killing 14 sailors and Marines while injuring 45 others. These weren't combat casualties. These were training operations where everything should have been routine. The incident reminds us that on a carrier flight deck, routine doesn't exist. Yet these dangers haven't deterred our sailors. They've responded by becoming better, smarter, and more careful. They've developed new procedures, better training, and stronger safety protocols. The injury rate that averaged 51 per 100,000 aircraft recoveries in the 1980s dropped to 30 by 1990. That improvement continues today. Every sailor who steps onto a flight deck knows the risks. They accept those risks because they believe in their mission, trust their training, and depend on their shipmates. That's the spirit that makes our Navy the finest in the world. The science of staying alive. Surviving on a carrier flight deck requires more than courage. It demands scientific precision in every action. The Navy has studied every aspect of flight deck operations to understand what keeps people alive and what gets them killed. Sleep deprivation affects your judgment as much as drinking alcohol. That's why the Navy strictly monitors rest periods for flight deck crews. A tired sailor makes mistakes, and mistakes on the flight deck often prove fatal. Every sailor must get proper rest before their shift begins. Situational awareness means developing what experts call a head-on-a-swivel approach. Flight deck workers must constantly scan their environment, tracking multiple aircraft, equipment, and personnel simultaneously. They train for months to develop this skill because the alternative is disaster. Communication happens through hand signals because verbal communication is impossible over the roar of jet engines. These signals must be perfect every time. A misunderstood gesture could send a 30-ton aircraft into a group of sailors. The precision required rivals that of brain surgery. Weather adds another layer of complexity. Carrier decks become slippery in rain, dangerous in high winds, and treacherous during storms. Yet operations continue because missions depend on it. Sailors learn to adapt their techniques to every weather condition while maintaining the same level of safety and efficiency. The physics of carrier operations work against safety. When a 40-ton aircraft lands at 150 miles per hour, the arresting cables stretch under tremendous tension. If a cable breaks, and it happens, it whips across the deck with enough force to cut a person in half. Sailors must position themselves in safe zones and react instantly when things go wrong. But our flight deck crews have mastered these challenges. They've turned science into instinct, procedures into reflexes, and teamwork into an art form that keeps everyone alive. Technology and innovation. American ingenuity has revolutionized flight deck safety through cutting-edge technology and innovative procedures. Today's carriers feature advanced systems that would amaze sailors from previous generations. Modern aircraft carriers use computer-controlled catapults that calculate the exact force needed for each aircraft type. These systems adjust for aircraft weight, wind conditions, and deck movement automatically. The precision eliminates many of the variables that caused accidents in earlier decades. Landing systems now include advanced radar and computer guidance that help pilots land more safely. The famous meatball landing aid has evolved into sophisticated electronics that guide pilots to perfect touchdowns in conditions that once made landing impossible. Safety equipment has advanced dramatically. Flight deck crews now wear gear that protects against heat, noise, and impact while allowing full mobility. Their helmets include communication systems that work even in the loudest environments. Their clothing resists flames and provides protection against jet blast. Training has become incredibly sophisticated. Sailors now practice on flight deck simulators that recreate emergency situations without real danger. They can experience aircraft fires, cable breaks, and other emergencies repeatedly until their responses become automatic. The Navy continuously analyzes every incident, every near miss, and every successful operation to identify improvements. This data-driven approach has led to procedures that reduce risk while maintaining operational effectiveness. Modern carriers also feature better medical facilities and faster emergency response systems. When accidents do occur, sailors receive world-class medical care within minutes. This improved medical response has saved lives that would have been lost in previous eras. The human spirit that makes it work. Behind all the technology, procedures, and statistics are real people making extraordinary sacrifices for their country. These sailors come from small towns and big cities across America, but they share common traits that make them exceptional. Melanie Cluck, a petty officer who wore the yellow jersey directing aircraft, described the initial fear of working on the flight deck. But she also explained how that fear transforms into pride once you master your job. That transformation happens because these sailors refuse to let fear control them. The teamwork on a carrier flight deck surpasses anything in civilian life. Each sailor's life depends on dozens of shipmates doing their jobs perfectly. This creates bonds stronger than family, trust deeper than friendship, and commitment that lasts a lifetime. Young sailors, many just out of high school, accept responsibilities that would challenge seasoned professionals. They make life and death decisions under pressure that most people never face. They do it because they believe in their mission and trust their training. The diversity of our flight deck crews reflects the best of America. Men and women from every background work side by side, united by their commitment to excellence and their dedication to protecting our nation. Their differences become strengths when forged together by shared purpose. These sailors volunteer for this dangerous work. They could choose safer jobs, but they choose to serve where the need is greatest and the risks are highest. That choice reflects the character that makes our military the finest in the world. The pride they take in their work shows in every perfectly executed operation. They don't just do their jobs, they pursue perfection because they know lives depend on it. That pursuit of excellence defines the American military spirit. Conclusion. The flight deck of a U.S. aircraft carrier represents the most dangerous workplace in our military, but it also represents the very best of American courage, skill, and dedication. Every day, hundreds of sailors risk their lives to project American power around the world and keep our nation safe. The statistics tell one story: the dangers are real and the risks are enormous. But the human story tells another tale, of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things under impossible conditions. They've taken the most dangerous job in the Navy and made it work through superior training, advanced technology, and unbreakable teamwork. These sailors deserve our deepest respect and gratitude. They stand on that dangerous deck so we can sleep safely in our beds. They risk everything so we can live in freedom. They embody the very best of America's military tradition. The next time you see an aircraft carrier, remember the heroes working on its flight deck. They're not just doing a job. They're living proof that courage, skill, and dedication can overcome any challenge. They make us proud to be Americans. Take a moment to honor these heroes by hitting that like button and subscribing to see more stories about the brave men and women who serve our country with such distinction.